Hi everyone, Marc Chasserot from Shecco. I'll be chairing day 2 of Atmosphere America. Welcome back. Welcome if it's the first time you're joining, and welcome back if you were with us yesterday. I want to also thank our sponsors again, in particular Kaiser Warren, our platinum sponsor, and our 3 gold sponsors, Tecumseh, Carnot, and Arneg. Without their support of all our sponsors, we wouldn't be able to put this program together, whether it's physical or online. So thank you again. We've done quite a few of these Atmosphere events around the world. Obviously, because of the pandemic, we're online again. But just to give you an idea, we have tried to cover as many of the regions as possible as natural refrigerants become more and more prevalent around the world. So this just gives you an indication of where we've been, and we've got ideas of where we want to go in the future as well. 65 events actually, and hundreds of speakers and thousands of attendees. And we got some questions yesterday. When will the presentations be made available? They will be made available today. And you can go to atmo.org for that. Yesterday, we had a keynote presentation from KSEP, from Dan, talking about net zero 2050 targets for cooling, and basically saying that the Montreal Protocol is already out of date. So it's an additional challenge for the cooling industry, an opportunity clearly. We had market trends presentation from my colleague Ilana. Then we had the commercial end users and contractors panel, followed by a panel around digitalization and how that can be leveraged to accelerate the transition to natural refrigerants. And then we had a series of technical presentations covering commercial refrigeration. Today, we're going to kick off with the policy and standards session, which is always a very popular session, at least from when we've had the physical events. We tend to get a lot of questions, so we'll try and make as much time as possible for those questions today. Then we will have, after the break, a panel for industrial end users and contractors. So today is more of an industrial day in that sense. We will have also a panel around utilities and incentives and how they are helping to build a business case for natural refrigerants in North America. And then finally, we will have case studies for industrial refrigeration, and then some concluding remarks for day 2. This is when I stop sharing my presentation and actually instead share with you the website. This is a new tool that we've implemented for Atmosphere America. When you go, this is your homepage. So just it's kind of some useful tips of how to use this properly. You have different options here. You can directly go into the live session. So here you could actually see myself live presenting, and you can see that there's a few minutes left of that presentation, and then you immediately jump into the next session. If you're more targeted in your approach and you just want to focus, say, on policy and standard session, you can go there and you can see that that will start in 6 minutes. And you can see who the speakers are. You can connect with them by clicking on this button here, and seeing other attendees who've registered for it. Not all attendees watching the actual session are registered. Then if you're interested in particular speakers, you can go through the list. You can search for people. You can contact them, and so forth. Similarly, sponsors have a dedicated page for each sponsor. So in the case of our platinum sponsor, you can go there, bookmark them, find out documents, see who their team has that's attending the event, and then start connecting with them. You can also set up meetings. Say you want to meet today, this is in a local time for each individual, and you want to do a virtual meeting, a one-to-one virtual meeting, then you can say, hi, I would like to meet so-and-so, send a meeting request, and there you go. You can also view products per category or refrigerant, and find out more information about those products that are on display from our various sponsors. And then for the participants who are attending, and we have over 400 registered participants, I think by the end of tomorrow, because we're getting new people registering for each additional day, and we have a third day tomorrow covering the Latin American region, we will be able to say that this is actually the largest Atmosphere America we've ever had. So here on the networking part, you can see who the different people are online right now. You can connect with some of them directly. You can also search again and so forth and set up calls, start chatting, and actually have a one-to-one video call. So people are telling us that they're actually using this. One thing that we do want you to do, and I've got a couple more minutes, is if you go to the program and say, for example, you're in my session right now, the opening session, you can view this in full screen. You can view it also on your iPhone or your iPad as a dedicated app. And then you can submit some questions to the speakers by writing down here. You can write some messages here on chat, but if you want to submit questions, then you have to select the questions tab and then submit the question, so people can actually vote and say this is actually a better question than other questions, so that they get a better chance of being asked by the moderators. And then finally, you have polls. Each session has a poll option. In this case, we've got 38 people that have already voted, saying, you know, how many have attended this? You know, is this your first Atmosphere, or yes or no? And in this case, we see that 1/3 are new to Atmosphere and 2/3 are not. And then, you know, we have a general question about how does the cooling sector, what's the potential role of the cooling sector within COVID? And we're clearly seeing that there's an opportunity for our industry, which is great. And 36 people have voted for that. So, and we will have in the next session on the policy and standards, given that we're only a couple of weeks away from a presidential election and many other elections, senatorial elections and so forth in the US, everyone in the world is interested in that election. You know, if we do end up having a new president in the US, what will that mean for HFC policies? So far, only one person's voted, so please vote in the next session. And then, you know, if you agree, do so. If you disagree, then put that in the chat option. This is how we want people to use this platform. And as I said earlier, we're getting good feedback on that. Yeah, I think that's basically what I wanted to say. You get also this notification tab, so hopefully you get a sense of how this tool can be used over the next day and tomorrow. Tomorrow will be chaired by my colleague Pilar, and this will be a session dedicated to the Latin American region in Spanish. So we know that there's a lot of interest for that day as well. We're hearing a lot of interest for natural refrigerants in the Latin American region, Mexico right down to south of Argentina. So it's exciting times for natural refrigerants, actually. Now I will say goodbye and join with the other panelists for the policy session in the next minute or so. So thank you very much for paying attention.